What if you could create truly personalized learning experiences for any one of your students without having to spend hours of planning on your own? Well, today I'm going to show you 3 strategies on how to do just that with the help of artificial intelligence and take personalized learning experiences to places they have never been before. I am Coach Stokes, tech coach at the International School of Helsinki and certified prompting engineer. And today we're going to be using ChatGPT to revolutionize personal learning experiences. What the heck is a GPT? Generative Pre-trained Transformer. That means nothing to you or a student. I like to say GPT means great personal trainer. See what I did with personal there? Personalized learning experience, personal trainer. You get it. This is what we're going to use the GPT for. Now, for both students and the teacher, the first thing we want to get into, step number 1, is come over here to your profile and go to Customize ChatGPT. When I go in here, I give custom instructions on exactly how I want the GPT to respond to me. I let it know about me, tell it how to address me, what my job title is, and now your students, if they're using this as well, can do the same thing. So if I go into a GPT or any of these AI platforms and I just start to ask questions, I'm going to get generic answers because it doesn't know who it's talking to. But if I come in and I'm logged into my account and I set it to speak to me, I talk about who I am, what my preferences are, how I like to be communicated with, I'm creating a truly personalized experience because every time I say something or I type something to it, it's going to respond back to me in a way where it feels like it knows me a little bit more because it has context on who it's speaking to when I put in my custom instructions, how I would like it to respond and letting it know more about me. That's tip number 1. And task number 1, go in, set your custom settings. And whenever you click on the box, they even give you pointers here on the side. So what I did was I just copied all of these. I put them into ChatGPT and I started talking about the questions, had a conversation and said, hey, this is what we want to pick out. And I want to make it under 1,500 characters. And then I put that information back in here. And you can edit this and update it at any time. So if you don't like how it's responding to you, go in and tweak the information that it has. Tip number 2, set goals. Now, we have several different ways we can go about doing this. I'm going to show you my personal way. I get into ChatGPT and I just talk to it. So right now, I'm using the web-based version. I can't talk to ChatGPT on the web-based version. If you get the desktop app or you use a mobile app, you can actually talk to it and it'll talk back to you. So this is what I do, like when I'm driving home from work or something of the sort. So if I'm going to set the goal as a teacher, I'm going to talk about my student. If the student is going to set the goal themselves, they get to talk about themselves and what they want to achieve. The beautiful thing about talking to this thing is you both can sit there and have a conversation with it at the same time. So if I click this little headphone right here, it starts to listen to me. It's listening to me right now. If I hold down my cursor, if I'm on a mobile device, I hold down my finger, I'll make sure that it doesn't interrupt me. Now, the newest updates that are coming to ChatGPT will allow you to have more of an organic conversation where you can just talk back and forth. But for now, you got to hold this down and talk to it. My suggestion, don't talk over 2 minutes because it'll lose your information a lot of the time and you'll feel like you just wasted that time. However, it's recording everything I'm saying right now, which is not a good prompt on what I want it to do. So I'm going to say, hey, forget everything I said up until this point and start listening to me right now. I want to create a customized learning plan or outline for my student. Let's call my student Grace. Grace is in the 4th grade. Grace loves animals. She's very athletic and she is really focused on enhancing her reading skills. So this personalized learning experience is going to be really about how we can take her reading to the next level because she might be like at a 2nd grade reading level right now. And we got to get her to be up here with her peers, the level she should be at, and see if we can't do anything more. And she's very, very enthusiastic and inspired about doing so. Now listen to how it responds. That little bubble there just shows that it's thinking.
For Grace.
Now, I'm going to stop that, but as you can see, everything has been outlined here that we just discussed in that brief plan that I just blurted out in a couple of seconds. But this isn't finalized. This is just a starting point. And as I sit there and I listen to it, I can say I like this, I don't like that, and I can take notes. Or I can take everything it gave me and run with that as a good starting point. The choice is totally up to you. But goal number 2 is use ChatGPT to help build the infrastructure and the way that you set your planning. Now, you may have a way that you love to do a personalized learning plan. Cool. Copy that format. I'm sure it's written down somewhere. And just paste it into the ChatGPT and say, hey, this is the format that I use for personalized learning experiences. Now let me tell you about this student. Let's take this student, what their goal is, and put it into my plan. And it'll whip all of that up for you, lickety split. So either take a real student as your second task or a fake student and make up some goals and just see what it gives you. But the beauty of this is not the initial output that it gives you. It's the fact that this is not static. When I write goals down on a paper, we write it down and we might reflect on it a few times at a parent-teacher conference or something of the sort. But with this, I can come in, I can continue to have the conversation. I can pull out certain points and just continue to go through the thread of the chat to really make this a kinetic experience that's fluid, not just for the teacher, but for the student who's getting a personalized experience and a very detailed experience. And then we can drop the reading level down. We can reformat it so the teacher sees something and the student sees something different, but that they're working on the same plan together. So, tip number 2, set goals with the AI and tweak the goals and continue to go back at the goals, which will bring us to step number 3, reflection. When I reflect upon the goals, I'm going through the course of the semester and we're working towards the goal, and we can always come in here and drop notes on where we are with the goal, what was successful, what was unsuccessful, what would we like to change and update as we go along. This is fluid. But I'm going to give you another example of how we do input. Guys, stop typing. It's a waste of time. It's taking way too much of your time to sit down here and try to type everything out to give an input to ChatGPT. Talk to it. Now, if you're not comfortable doing the talkback thing, you can still click the mic here, and this will do voice to text, which is really, really good. The beautiful thing about what happened when I was talking to it in the talkback feature, it wrote everything down. Well, right now, it's writing everything down that I'm saying, but it's not an input yet. I'll have to stop it, and then I'll see everything I said, and I can edit that information, which is not necessary, but I could edit it if I have OCD, and I could put it back in here in the way that I want it to be. It's not as organic for speech, but it gives me more control over what I'm reading and seeing at the same time and being able to make adjustments in a more reliable way. Hey, ChatGPT, forget everything I said up until this point. Start from this moment right now. I want you to pretend that Grace has been through an entire semester. She's read a few books. We're seeing a good increase in her personal reading goals. She did steps 2 and 1 and 2 very well. We're progressing into step number 3, and we just want to do a little bit of reflection on where she is in her goals right now. What should we be adding in? Maybe some more nuance, or what should be taken away? And how should we celebrate this moment as well, right? And update her goals. So that's what I want you to do right now. Make it seem like Grace has been through this whole scenario because, it hasn't happened. And then you're going to rework her goals so we can have a more progressive plan as we continue throughout the semester. So I talked for 2 minutes there, and the beginning of it had nothing to do with what I actually want to talk to ChatGPT about. Now, I could erase all of this because it's not pertinent to, it's not the prompt that I need to give to get the results that I want. But I'm going to leave it just so you guys can understand how well ChatGPT is understanding the conversations that we're having. You don't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to be written out and proofread. It doesn't have to be a perfect input for you to give a great output. You just have to provide a lot of context. So I'm just going to send that with all that junk in there. Great. It's got it. It's creating the fake achievements. It's creating the goals. It's outlining everything. But what we did is we condensed a whole personalized learning experience into 10 minutes. I told you this stuff would be powerful. Please go in, set your custom settings, make some goals, and then after you find the format of the goals, the way that you like it, the new structure that you have or the old structure that you brought in, you can just copy and paste the same one over and over again and say, but hey, we're working on a new student. Task number 3 is try the talkback features. Which way do I want to talk and interact with a GPT so I can find my flow, so I am saving time? I'm going to be able to talk about my students. In an hour, how many students can I talk about? As opposed to in an hour, how many students can I write about? So task number 3 is learn how to talk to it. I'm Coach Stokes. This is Designed for Learning. Please subscribe to the channel, do all the YouTube-y stuff, click the notification bells, and we'll see you in the next one.